All right, Michael, whenever you're ready.
All right, well, good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank Project and the More community for setting up this webinar, giving us the opportunity to share our technology, our products. I am Michael Nutt, and first of all, I just want to make sure I've got the slideshow going. There we go. So my name is Michael Nutt. I am the Director of Business Development with JFC Associates. I also have Mike Guns with me as well, Senior Consultant with JFC as well. Just a brief overview, if you're not familiar with JFC, we are an asset management services company primarily, have been in the Maximo space since 2001. And part of what we do for our customers is help them optimize their asset management systems, namely Maximo. We've been working with Maximo since the very beginning. And one thing that we have also done is try and create some innovative solutions for our customers. There have been a number along the years. What we're going to share with you are our Connex product, which is a solution that we developed initially for IoT. But we have expanded that to include some visualization tools. So we're going to be sharing some of those visualization models to help understand how customers can help streamline their Maximo training and maintenance processes. So I'd like to start off, I like quotes. This is one from one of my famous smart guys, visualization is more important than knowledge, from Albert Einstein. And actually the context of it was more around imagination and how that kind of, what we currently know is somewhat, what we know and we understand is really limited by our knowledge, but it's really our imagination that helps us to discover and to create things. So what we're going to show you is something that we've created to help increase the knowledge, particularly around asset management. And that being our Connex product. So what we're going to show you today is some of these visualization tools where we have taken we've partnered with a company called Matterport to create these 3D models that we have integrated with Maximo. And we're going to show you the value of that and how we can utilize that in a multitude of different types of use cases in different types of industries, really adopting this from what it was originally developed as a real estate platform to take that 3D model view within real estate to more of an industrial space. And I'm going to go through a model that we have, particularly with IBM, that we've developed at their IBM Innovation Center. So I will switch over to that. So instead of boring you with a bunch of slides, we're going to go right into a demo. So what you're seeing here is a model that has been generated from taking physical scans, photorealistic scans of a space, and stitching them together to create this 3D model. And what makes this very interesting is now I can represent areas that may have only been historically represented in 2 dimensions. We've all seen those types of visual representations. Well, now I can actually do that in a 3D representation. And not only can I do it from this model, but I can actually zoom in inside of that space. So what I'm going to be showing you here is some sensor data that is tied to the Maximo system, the backend Maximo system, and viewing that in this 3-dimensional space. Now, if you haven't been to New York, to the IBM Innovation Center, it's quite stunning. This is actually their demo space where we do have our sensor technology on showcase for customers to see that IBM does display with their demonstrations. So you'll see this icon here represents one of the humidity sensors that we have enabled within their space. If I zoom around here, I've got another sensor that I've identified here, which is an airflow discharge sensor. And there's a bit of information that we can bring across to the details of what is associated with that particular tag, what we call a Matterport tag, that is pulled from the backend Maximo system. So not only can I view basically any information that exists within that Maximo space or the Maximo database, but I can focus in on what is important to me, what I want to see as far as what's utilized with this. So I can see last readings, and since I'm going to be focusing on our sensors at this point, I can actually look at a sensor dashboard. So I'm going to move back over here to this one and bring up our Connex platform. And just to kind of delve into what our platform has to offer, which is a very robust IoT edge platform, where I can take basically any kind of data from OEM sensors to individual sensors that we may want to add to SCADA systems. We can even pull from data warehouses like Pi Historian. So what you're seeing here is a graphical representation of readings that have been taken over the course of the day. I can quickly modify that if I wanted to see maybe over the last couple of days and see some better trending. And what I'm seeing now is, I had a pretty big spike here and it's come back down. And these values here, I can just scroll over and determine what those values are. I can also, I also have these readings that are available in a list view here. I can also look at a more detailed view of those listings and look at a longer list of history. But that's kind of boring. I'm more of a visual person. I like seeing these kind of graphs. But the nice thing about looking at this history is I could do other things such as enter a note. And I did mention that this is tied to the backend system, which is Maximo. So this integration is able to push information back into Maximo as well as pull specific nameplate data from Maximo. So information like this, like adding a note, could easily be pushed into Maximo as a log file, for example. What's very interesting about this is that unlike condition monitoring, where I may have only one or two values and an action item, alert action that that you can establish within Maximo, is I can create specific rules around what will happen when certain things occur, like if it surpasses thresholds. So as I was hovering over those values, indicating the specific humidity from that sensor, I do have a rule that we have written into, as well as all of these other rules. So within our platform, we can take multiple rules, not just one value, but taking values from multiple rules and create an algorithm to determine what that next action item is. So if I were to look at what's behind the scenes in this particular rule, I can see that I've established that anything above 40, there is going to be an action item. And I can define what that action item is by looking at what these tasks are. So these are some out-of-the-box capabilities of being able to configure what that next action item is. So I've got this set to create an email if it surpasses that 40% humidity mark. What I'd like to see is, do I have any history? It got really close, but is there any history for in that time period? No. Maybe if I look at the last day. Maybe there's something that's popped up. Well, yeah, there is, and I actually initiated that. So there's an ability to test the system as well. So going back to the tasks, I have a number of things that I can do. So emails, texts, send a voice call, or I can create a system action. So as I indicated, this is integrated with Maximo. So what I can also do is initiate service requests or work orders. So I don't have that set up here as I'm just looking at sensor information. So what I'm going to do is hand this over to Mike Guns, and he's going to go through a demonstration that includes Maximo. So Mike, over to you.
Okay. So as you can see here, this is Maximo in the asset module. And what we've designed is to make sure that we have like an overarching idea of how to properly maintain our assets using the Connex platform sensors and the Matterport scans so that we can have a holistic approach to what we do with asset management. So if I take a look at this asset 1008, which is a hot water heater number 2, you can see the various tabs within Maximo that are normally there. The metering, we have that set up as one of the meters temperature-wise that would show up from the Connex platform or one of your other BAS or SCADA systems, and have that information actually put in here and the readings. This one in particular doesn't have any right now, but what we do have is this other tab notated as Matterport. And this will take you right into the 3D model and directly to that piece of equipment to show some of the information like Michael showed you earlier based on what we passed over with the API. So we connected to Maximo so that we can get whatever information is necessary. In this case, the asset number, the description, some of the system priority information, location. You can see on the side here that there's an O&M manual attached to the piece of equipment. We can also have that as an attachment, similar to what Michael showed earlier with the pictures. The other part to this is if I'm showing this to one of my personnel, maybe before they get there, I can identify some of the things that I want them to look at before they arrive. But if they get there and they see that the equipment doesn't look the same as it does in this picture, perhaps maybe there's water leaking on the floor or something of that nature, they can add a work order directly to that so that they can put that in the system for somebody to go out and take a look at later. So in this case, you would just have to type in the description and the asset information comes over directly. Now within this space, you can look and see that I can span around to look at other pieces of equipment. I can show different tags and different colors. This is all part of the Matterport experience on the Matterport site, so that you can do that with or without Maximo. The objective here is to make Maximo the voice of record. So all the information that's necessary for these pieces of equipment are in Maximo, and we want to get them to these tags. Now, you might be asking yourself, this is all cool, but what's the basis on this? Well, let's take a look at, you have a new employee that's just come into your organization, and you need to walk them through a space so they can see in between all the pieces and parts of the equipment, identify some of the maybe some of the hurdles or the safety aspects of their job that they need to look at. They can see within the space where my exits and entrances are, what it's going to look like when I get there. If I come through the door, what am I going to see? all the equipment that's associated with that. If I have some low hanging pipes or anything that might bump my head as I'm coming through, I can walk through the entire space and kind of train that personnel before they even get there to identify any of this information ahead of time. What I can also do is I can look, since I'm going to train them with this, you can see on the bottom here on the floor, these little circles. Well, this is where the camera was actually setting to scan the equipment and the room. So I can better set myself up to identify some things. Maybe, with these starters, I want to know the lockout tagout procedure that's necessary. I need to lock this one out first, this one out second. And I can have a layer that would show me that with these tags on it that basically give me information about locked or unlocked in that condition. This would all go back to your lockout tagout portion of Maximo so that you can align those assets to set this up to show you that ahead of time. Another great thing about this is if you do that portion where you have the locks and lock on and lock off, maybe you have a button with one of the sensors that is an inspection sensor that says, okay, I'm here and I've locked it. Now it changes this state from unlocked to locked. And now your supervisors or your executives can take a look at it and see what the progress is on that kind of sort of in real time and in the space that you're actually working. Another aspect of this is this great little feature down here, which is a measurement tool. Now I can give this model to perhaps a contractor and say, okay, here's the model. We can't get you in the space right now, but now I can take this and say, all right, well, I need to know how far up from the floor to the ceiling it's going to be, so that I need a ladder perhaps, or a lift, or maybe I need to measure a piece of pipe. So you can see this is 6'11" up to the top of this particular piece of strut. Maybe I need to extend that up to the ceiling so that I can see better what exactly is going on there and how far up it is. So you can see that this is 10'10". So I'm definitely going to need at least an 8-foot ladder to get up anywhere close to the beams. In another aspect, I might need to know that I'm replacing this part of the pipe, and I'm going to measure across and see where that ends. I can see that that's 7'4", so I can do a takeoff based on these parameters and find out exactly what's going on with the work before I even get there. I can look around, just like I talked about with the training aspects, and see if there are any safety hazards that I might need to look at before I get to the space. Do I need a harness? How many locks am I going to need and tags am I going to need to support and lock this equipment out so that I can work on this piece of equipment and replace that piece of pipe? So you can see the aspects of having a 3D digital twin ahead of time are going to give you more visibility on that space before you even get there, and give you a leg up on exactly what you're going to do with that space when you do arrive. Now, you might be asking yourselves, how am I going to incorporate this into my stream of asset management, and how fast is it going to be for me to do this? I'm going to have to scan all my buildings. The great thing about this is a small space like this, being only 1,200 feet, you can do it with an iPhone, and it would only take about 12 minutes. The scans are very quick, and you can get a particular piece of equipment called the gimbal that Matterport makes to put your iPhone on, and it'll actually spin around to scan the space in the right spots that you're supposed to. You can just follow the directions on the screen. The other part to this, when you do that, is now I'm going to have to start taking an inventory of exactly what I'm going to need to put this into place. You may have a 2D drawing that you're looking at, kind of similar to this view. Now I'm going to have to tackle how I'm going to make this scan happen. I want to make sure that when I scan it in a grid pattern. So basically I'm starting from the upper left-hand corner and I'm moving myself around this space so that I can get it. That way the screen or the scans that you take will stitch together properly. In this aspect, I'm going to show you with the measurement tool just exactly how this can be accomplished. So I can start from this point and I can bring this down across. Say I want to go to 7'5". That's about a good span so that I can make sure that I scan the proper ways. And I can basically grid out my my scanning so that I know where I'm going to go ahead of time. Now this is very quick and crude, but this gives you an idea of like where your path is going to be when you're doing the scans. Now, if I scroll in a little bit, and if you're in this space and you're taking a look at it so that you can identify the grid pattern that you want, you can see there's a big conglomeration of equipment right here. So now within this this path that I'm taking, maybe I want to take a couple of more scans in this grid appropriately so that I can get nameplate data or good pictures of you know, gauges, etc. So it'll be important for you to lay this out so that you can identify those pieces of equipment properly and get the information that's necessary. Not only that, now that I have this scan, I want to take some inventory into the sensoring aspects of the Connex platform or your SCADA or BAS system so that you can say, okay, I want these sensors to be aligned with my Matterport scan to go into Maximo so that I have a holistic approach of my asset management. This in point, you can see all of these sensors that are associated with all the networks. Maybe I only want to have this specific network like we were talking about on the IBM Innovation Studio, where they only have 6 sensors. Or with this, I can say, okay, I'm going to have these sensors tied back into Maximo so that when I look on my sensor data and within the actual model itself, and I go to that Matter tag, now I can have information from that meter right at my fingertips. And I can have, I can look and see, maybe I want to look at all the Matter tags that I have within that space. And I only want to see the meters. So in this case, let's just say that I'm looking for all of my controllers. So I can see if I type in CONT, my controllers come up and the gas control valve. And I can go to those directly and get a little bit more information. So that's the importance of having this link between the two so that I can readily get to some of these pieces of equipment and look at them ahead of time so that I can make some more informed decisions on exactly what I'm doing. The other part to this too is that we have what's called an asset hierarchy list. Now, we were showing earlier the equipment 1008 asset number. Within this, now I can see the meters that are attached to it so that if I have another tag associated with that, I can click on that and go to that meter readily and see exactly what's going on with it. This does work in mobile applications. So if you look at, you can do this on Safari or Edge within an iPad or an iPhone. So there are different ways to do this and keep yourself mobile in order to make your asset management and your maintenance go a little quicker. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it back over to Michael so that we can continue. And while he's setting back up, just think to yourself exactly what we're going to be doing as far as how we're going to put things together to get meter data out, identify our assets better, and focus in on a few things to make more informed decisions. And as you can see on the screen here, we want to list out a couple of benefits to this whole process. That being said, we have easily focused deployment. You saw how quick it could be based on the scans, and even using your iPhone. Adding those Matter tags in are very quick and easy. Very easy to put your Connex platform together and tie that into Maximo so that your meter data is getting through. You've consolidated all of the system data into the base of record, which is Maximo, and that's what we want. We want to be able to focus in our asset management in one location. So now we've taken a couple tools that can support that, bring it all together. With the ease and mobility of this and how it can be implemented quickly, it's a good return on your investment. It's very inexpensive. Maximo or Matterport having licensing models available and the Connex platform with those sensors you already have sensor data for certain things that are in with your BAS systems. So now the model with Matterport is very inexpensive and can be set up fairly quickly and not have Maximo right away. You can integrate that at a later time. So you have this benefit model that you can kind of sort of throw at your executives to say, I'm going to need the money for this, and I can have a proof of concept that shows it to give you a little bit more broad spectrum ideas about how it can be implemented.
And we'd love to have another 3 hours to go through other scenarios and dig a little deeper, but we know we're right at the margin of time. To open it up for questions, I believe is the format. There have been a couple of questions already that we've answered. And can I bring up the questions that have been answered already, Joe?
Yeah, whatever you'd like to do. It looks like another one just popped in there as well.
Yeah, looking at that. So would Matterport have to be licensed to all the Maximo users? That would be no.
No. So you can do a couple different things there. You can have power users, and you can have folks that can just view. So you don't need specific licenses, or you can give people who aren't affiliated a link to go to your view and just view only. They won't be able to manipulate or anything. They'll just be able to look at the scan and kind of walk around the space.
Yeah, and one of the previous questions is what version is our solution compatible with? So it was developed with 7.6. It is compatible with 7.6 as well as version 8. So it's currently connected to the version 8 Mass 8 platform in the New York Innovation Center.
Mm-hmm.
And then not seeing the other one, but basically, does this work on tablets? And Mike, you did say that yes, this can be deployed on mobile devices as a freestanding application or inside of Maximo.
Yeah, any iOS and any Android. It works on both. Google Pixel. All right.
All right, perfect.
And Joe, I think there is a Q&A session that we're open to tomorrow as well. If there's any additional questions or you want to dig in a little bit deeper, we'll be available.
Yeah. And the attendees should have those links, and the link is in the agenda as well.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Well, hey,
all right,
thank you again for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yep, you guys take care.